The first season of Everything is Fine is coming to an end next week. It's been a wild, wild ride. So much has happened in this series. And in 28 chapters, this is a dense series, with a lot to explain and even more to speculate on, which will be the purpose of these two videos. One now and one in a few days, explaining everything you need to know about this series, and later explaining where Season 2 might go. So let's get into explaining everything that's happened in this season so far. And where a better place to start than the beginning. Our story follows Maggie and Sam, a lovely couple living in a lovely neighborhood with lovely neighbors and lovely cat heads. Yes, the world of Everything is Fine isn't exactly fine, as not only are our main characters and their neighborhood, but seemingly the entire world is under the rule of the cats. And I don't mean how cute they are, I mean look at mine. Amazing. But whatever's in charge of this world wants everyone to conform with their twisted dystopian future. The new world has new rules that might be a little much for us, but are likely a matter of life and death for these citizens. We see these often absurd rules while people try their best to live their lives. Take a look at Maggie's life, which sounds like I'm dunking on her life, but more how terrifying it is. Her life is almost always seemingly monitored. Not only does she always have to wear a cat head, but every street corner, every supermarket, every place that's not their home have cameras. And even if they don't have cameras, their cat heads seemingly have recording devices in them, as a way to record anything they want when their eye turns red. Though you'll notice the eye isn't always on, and there could be a couple reasons for this. Recording every single person's audio probably requires a lot of time, effort, and storage, and why would you need to do that? The recording device is there as a threat more than anything else. That we're always listening, that we're always watching, that we're always here. These cat heads are an easy way to store a listening device, as well as a device to ping their location every 10 minutes. Not to mention an extra special device. A device that likely connects directly to their minds. Something that probably blocks out certain words and phrases like swearing, but a device that might be a little more than just a chat filter, as it's a way to punish those who step out of line. But I'll get into the punishment in a bit. People try their best to live the life that the people in charge want them to live. Even if they know they're living a lie. Even if they know they're not happy with their situation. And the reason for this is, well, tragic. A point of interest in this series is the fact that there are no kids. The entire season hasn't had a single child present. Many of them do indeed have children. Many of our main characters are in a relationship, are married, are a couple, and we even see playgrounds around for them. However, their children have been taken from them. Held hostage so the citizens comply with the weird laws and rulings. This is the world where our main characters, Sam and Maggie, live in. This couple clearly aren't happy with their situation, but what more can they do? Their children are taken from them. They're living in a world where everyone is out to get them. They have to do it. They have to play their parts for their kids. There's not a lot they can do until a dinner party, of course, where their neighbors Bobby and Linda plant a trap. Not for Sam or Maggie, but for Charlie, their other neighbor. Someone who's been collecting a lot of aluminum foil. And someone who wasn't so willing to comply with the weird sitcom-y world that they've all been forced into. When Bobby and Linda snitch on Charlie, Maggie gets a front row seat to what's really going on how the system hurts people like herself. Of course, she tries to forget. I mean, how could she not? As Charlie was switched into red status, that punishment I mentioned earlier. As a punishment, people's status get changed into red status, where their mind breaks as they suffer so much mental damage that physical pain is preferable. Maggie here is presented a choice: to continue to live under the system, or to try to take a stand, even if it's pointless. After a brief loss of hope, Maggie decides to try to follow in Charlie's footsteps, collecting aluminum foil to create a Faraday cage, a way to block signals that connect directly to your head. After creating this cage and having a little run-in with a police officer that ends with a hammer and someone's head, Maggie and her partner Sam are now racing against the clock, framing their neighbors Bobby and Linda for the murder, and watching them follow in Charlie's footsteps as these two become red status as well. This leads our dynamic duo to take their neighbor's spot to be transferred over to Lakeview. And just in time too, as their neighborhood was next on the chopping block. Or I guess burning block would be more appropriate. And with a rebellion on the rise and a new town ahead of us, we have a lot to look forward to in Season 2. But if you want to hear my thoughts on what's next, you'll have to check out my other video coming out real soon. But that's all for today. So like always, thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you next week. Take care.